Welcome to another episode of The Drive presented by Oddschecker. I am your host, Andy Lack. I am joined, as always, by my co-host and friend, Geoffrey Fienberg. Jeff, how we doing today? Another signature event, fourth of the season.
Fourth of the season, and as I saw on the Twitterverse, a clear delineation, it seems. The signature events being won by, the higher end players for the most part, Rory, Hideki, Ludwig,
Yep.
and the other events really going to the back of the board, even in some cases, some, total unknowns.
Yeah, to a certain extent, I would say. I had a lot of guys in the mix last week, and certain what Joe Highsmith was certainly not one of them, man. So as we attack this next signature event, I'm really interested to hear your take. Usually, I have more bets than right now I've got two, and I got to be honest with you, Jeff. I'm properly afraid of Scotty and Rory this week. I'm not always in that corner. I'm not a without Scotty guy. I'm not a without Rory guy, and I took him on this week. Um, but I gotta say, man, there are a couple golf courses on the PGA Tour where Scotty Scheffler and Rory McIlroy, and you could also make this argument for Ludwig to a certain extent, start on second base based on their skill set. And Bay Hill's one of those golf courses, Jeff. So how do you assess the top of the board?
I very much agree with you. I am very much afraid of Scotty. Try to play around with some ways that I could bet Scotty. There's just nothing I could do that worked. That being said, Andy, I've got two bets as well. I'm afraid I don't really have much, I don't have a lot of profound thoughts other than I try not to overthink these events. I believe they're won by the top of the board, these elevated events, not just so much to the sample size this year, but if I get clipped by a Kurt Kitayama at Bay Hill against an elevated field, I'll just tip my cap. I got a couple bets. I am not going far down the board at all. A lot of familiar friends for me, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to kick us off first? I'll tell you mine. I have a 30 to 1 and a 50 to 1. Do you have anyone sub 30 to 1?
I got one guy sub 30 to 1. DraftKings has been putting out some of those Sunday night golf lines to get a bit of a head start on the market to tempt us. And I bit out of the gate. Ludwig, it was 1900. I played it again at 18. At 16, I don't even think it's a ridiculous number. Once
No.
I decided I'm not betting on Scotty per se, it's really the next place that I want to go is to bet on Ludwig. And if as long as you tell me he doesn't have a ligament tear in his knee or he's, not sick, he's not going to finish outside the top 10. He never seems to. Top 20 certainly. So I expect him if anyone's going to hang with those top two, for me it's going to be Ludwig and I was happy to bet it.
I have major FOMO already. I still might add him. I have room to add him. I bet Ludwig at this golf course last year. I have always said, Jeff, that the three best golf courses on the PGA Tour for Ludwig are Torrey Pines, Bay Hill, and Muirfield Village. And if he hasn't won at every single one of those golf courses within the next 2 to 3 years, I will be surprised. I think that Bay Hill, and I remember doing this with you last year, where I came on here and I said, I don't know what would you say in Sweden? What's the Swedish rallying cry? Whatever it is, give me the Swedes at Bay Hill. I am all in on Victor Hovland and Ludwig Aubert for this golf course. I have not fired on either of them solely because I wonder if back-to-back Siggies is too much of a big ask for Ludwig. That is subjective and not backed in data by any means. The data loves him. And then Victor, we can maybe get to it another time, but I have no arguments, no qualms with that bet. My first wager was Patrick Cantlay. Uh, I know I don't have to make a huge sell because you are a believer like me. I really think he's close. I've done a good job holding off, not wasting too much money on him this year. I think I didn't. I know I didn't bet him at Pebble at Torrey. I think I bet him at Century maybe. He's hitting the cover off the ball, and he finally started making some putts at Torrey Pines. The driver is straight again. The irons are coming back. Like I mentioned, the putter is heating up. I went with Cantlay at 30 to 1. Win a golf tournament, man. I mean, seriously, win a golf tournament. So I went Cantlay at 30 to 1. But I mean, you could sell me on any of these lovable losers in the 20s, right? I mean, how do is Morikawa? How do is Justin Thomas? How do is Cantlay? The only guy who feels like he pays off his price consistently is Hideki. I think Cantlay's my favorite of the bunch, but could be sold on any of them.
Okay, so there's a tier of golfer. I'm staring right at it. You kind of named it, that I was looking at for my bets because Torrey Pines, when I bet it, I said I'm not getting fancy. I'm betting it like it's a U.S. Open. Um, and here so maybe more so because the firm and fast greens, much faster than we might see, anywhere on the West Coast, certainly when the Bermuda gets going and the wind and what we've seen on a Sunday afternoon once these things get baked out. And it had me staring at JT, Cantley, and Tommy. And if I had to rate them, JT sitting at a 28 at FanDuel, Tommy and Cantley sitting at 30. And I have been so good. I have been, for the most part, Andy, I was on a Tommy Fleetwood diet. I really was. But we got to Torrey Pines and I had a cheat week because I said, I'm going to bet this thing like it's a US Open. And that means I'm allowed to bet Tommy Fleetwood. That's how I justify it to myself. The problem is now it's going to be 2 weeks in a row. Well, two events in a row that he's played because since the Genesis, and I'm back on Tommy again, and it's no longer cheat week. Like you can declare the diet is over. That being said, this is Bay Hill. Like for all of the talk of people thinking Tommy like one day win a major, no. For me, it has always been something like Tommy will be putting on that red cardigan. He has been striping the ball with his approaches, Andy. He really has. And I
Yeah.
know, like, is he a hard guy to trust? Is he a never winner? Yes. But when he has won 7 times on the DP World Tour, he's literally like outdueled Rory in like 4 of them. He
Hmm.
beats good players. He
Hmm.
does. He didn't do anything wrong at the Olympics. He just lost to Scotty Scheffler.
Hmm.
Tommy Fleetwood, 30 to 1 for me. I can't even call it cheat week over. Like I've officially broken my diet, but I can't resist him here. And maybe I do just go Ludwig, Tommy, Cantley, because I really do like it. And that's exactly what I did at Torrey. And I kept it simple and I found myself in winner's circle. And I want to do it again. I am not going down the board this week. You can tell me about your 50 to 1. We can try to each guess at a long shot, but I'm done.
Safe space for the Tommy stuff. I love Tommy. I don't know if I'll get there this week. My buy number was like a 33 to 35. The books are scared of him, you know? I mean, I really thought that
There
we'd
were
get
some early 35s on FanDuel.
missed him,
Yeah.
missed him. But it shows like I think fair on him is 33 to 35. The fact that he's at 30 shows that there's, popular respect.
Too much. It's almost like they're trying to suffocate the placing markets. And they know
Yeah,
there's enough suckers like me who might bite on the outright, which I did.
yeah. So, I will tell you this. I bet Sung J M at 50 to 1.
Interesting.
He has phenomenal history at the API. The irons started to come back for him last week. I know he miscut at the number at Cognizant, which was very disappointing. You know, it's a golf course he should be playing better at, but I think his performance was a lot better than what the results would suggest. Obviously, he's got great history here. He's just he's Bay Hill, you need to be above average at everything. And Sung Jae is like he's a very above average putter, very above average short game, very above average
Plus,
driver,
plus, plus across the board.
plus across the board, just a lot of green, which I think explains his success, you know, the well-rounded nature of his game historically. So I bet Sung Jae at 50 to 1. I would tell you this, the other guys in that range that I'm swimming around. Victor Hovland, Will Zalatoris, Keegan Bradley. I mean, any of those three guys on a long golf course with thick rough, those are all guys that play well at Muirfield Village. They're all guys that play well at US Opens. They're all guys that play well at Torrey Pines. They're all guys that play well at Bay Hill. So those would kind of be the only other guys that I'm swimming around.
Interesting. I like a lot of those names. Uh, Will Zalatoris might be my favorite of the group. Just breaking down Sungjae a little bit more, Andy. Like he started the year third at the Century, followed that up. I don't really care about the Amex. Then the fourth at the Farmers, and I really thought like, whoa, maybe we could take off seriously from here. And it's kind of just really been a slog, right? Phoenix a bit of a slog, miscuts at the Genesis and the Cognizant. It's like that, but he's a Bermuda guy. I mean, I don't know. I'm just thinking about it out loud. I haven't thought about him at all this week. I kind of looked right through him. You're the first time I've heard the name, so it's just kind of got my head spinning at the moment. But I'm out of units. I've bet Tommy. I've bet Ludwig. Sure, I've got room for another, and I could overexpose myself, but from the betting board perspective, responsibly, of course, we're doing this outright game. And I got to tell you, Andy, for how the books essentially hit back to back double zeros on the roulette wheel,
Yeah,
I'm in some of these prices are pathetic
yeah.
considering the books literally just, if they do at the casino, they got their wand, their reaching stick, they just swipe all the chips in. It's exactly what just happened the last 2 weeks. Thought we'd see some better numbers. The suffocating the life out of Tommy Fleetwood, a never winner. Oh, it was disappointing. Disappointing. Down the board. Down the board, people like a long shot. Some, people are just so afraid of Scotty and Rory. Maybe they're looking for just more of a placing bet that they could chase a dragon with. Anyone here? Triple digits, flirting with it. Seth the Gala, kind of really high up there on that odds checker grid. Seeing it as high as 90 to 1. Baccia, like some of these guys with some real pedigree. Anything up here, flip, do it for you? Minwoo.
Davis Thompson. I love me some Davis Thompson on a golf course that accentuates short game and driving ability. Davis Thompson, great short game, great overall driver of the ball. That would be it. That would be it probably in terms of the guys that I really want to highlight. So
Davis
yeah,
Thompson hit the ball quite lovely. I want to, or he did good Davis Thompson things in
I
Palm
mean, we
Beach
were
and
on him at
stuff like
Torrey.
that.
He's great at Torrey, which is another very similar golf course to this in a lot of ways. I, I'm not I'm not reading too deeply into the poor performance at Cognizant. I wasn't there on that one. I didn't think it was the best course fit. I think it's a much better course fit for him. So DT, I mean, for me, I'm probably, all I have is a 30 and 50. So swimming around Ludwig, swimming around Colin, swimming around Zalatoris, Hovland, Burns, maybe. I like Burns quite a bit this week, but I'm gonna have to dive in right after this pod. So Cantlay and Sungjae are the two Monday plays for me as well. You have a bit more of a complete card as we stand here. Any other closing thoughts before we get on our way? Big stretch of golf coming up. Geoff, next time we talk, it will be for the Players Championship. God, the years flying by.
It is flying by quickly right now, Andy. I mean, I guess after next week we'll be within inside of a month to the Masters. But no, I'm just gonna put more air in Tommy's tires here for a moment because I know I'll take a lot of heat for betting him. But game 4.5 strokes with the approach at Pebble, over 5 strokes at the Genesis. The approach game is on. We're in Florida. I can make my Tommy Florida donations. That's really all I got. Ludwig, Tommy, I feel pretty good about it, despite I'm going to my safe space.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Again, sold. I'm a Tommy believer as well. I'm just looking for a little bit better of a number, but I'll be cheering him on for you this week. Now I'll have exposure in some way, whether it's one and done or daily fantasy or a top 10. I'm totally with you on the Tommy spot and course fit. So that will do it from us. As always, please shoot us a like and subscribe on our YouTube channel, maybe a comment of your favorite play. We'd love to have you get involved, and we'll keep the content coming. Best of luck with your bets this week at the Arnold Palmer Invitational, and we will see you next time. Cheers.
Just a reminder, Andy, watching the game is great. Winning on it is even better. Oddschecker gives you AI-powered insights on real-time odds so you can spot trends, find value, and turn your knowledge into action. Why just watch when you can be part of the action? Visit oddschecker.com now and get in on the game. Oddschecker is for entertainment purposes only and does not offer real money betting. Remember, gambling should be fun, so bet responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, help is available. Call 1-800 Gambler. We out. See you next week, friends, for the players.